Well, Michigan, damn. Damn. Okay, well, if you're like me during the rain delay, like this is how we find out. I find out during a rain delay in the France game. Um, so I'm flipping through the channels and I was like, yeah, I might as well just go tune into, ESPN, see what's going on. And it's like breaking news, official, reports. Dusty May is finalizing a contract with the Dallas Mavericks, and it's like, what? What? Huh? How does this does not make sense? But you know what, in the day and age that we live in, with sports, like, to me it kind of makes sense, but it doesn't. Like, I'm getting a lot of vibes, a little bit, which we'd have two nickels if
If I had a nickel for every time I was doomed by a puppet, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
you're kidding me. If, like, hey, the last time there was a Michigan head coach that won the national championship, where'd they go? Anybody know? But no, and like, in all seriousness, I think what Dusty May was able to do with the program of Michigan is turn it around and put it on the map of, hey, this team is legit and they could compete. Like, there were tournaments within the season where it's like, hey, Michigan could look like a legit contender. And like, I think it's cool to see where like he came from, because I forgot this and I like needed a little bit of a reminder. But like, this dude has come a long way. Like, he was with that Florida Atlantic team that got their way to the Final Four that one year in 2023, when there was all these underdog teams, which was unique to say the least. But then now here we are, fresh off of a national championship, and I'm over here thinking, you know what, maybe we could start to have these conversations on, if he can do, because like, this move, I think, differentiates the differences between all-time greats. Like, you look at Jay Wright. Jay Wright stayed with Villanova. He didn't go on to the next level. Roy Williams stayed. He didn't go on to the next level. Coach K. You look at Dan Hurley right now. I mean, everybody was talking about K. He's gonna leave UConn after going back to back and then go coach for the Lakers, which I saw a report on this, and like, a big thing that people were talking about on why he left, it came down to recruiting and being able to hold rosters. And it's like, that makes no sense to me personally. That makes no sense, because I think you just came from the top. You are the top school, the top program. If any college athlete wants to, try to pursue winning a national championship or getting to the next level, wouldn't you, as Michigan and as the head coach of Michigan, want to be the top landing spot for recruits coming in? You know what I mean? Like, the whole, well, it's the NIL portal and you can't, there's roster turnovers and stuff. Like, it, to me, it makes no sense. It's like, you are the top team. You look at Ohio State, you look at Michigan after they won the national championship, but it was a little different. You look at Indiana after they won the national championship. Like, to sit here and go, yeah, Coach, Signetti, right after winning the national championship for Indiana, he dipped out. He went to, I mean, the equivalent for an NFL team for like what the Mavericks did this past season. The only team that I could compare it to would probably be the Raiders or um, the Dolphins. It would make no sense, because it's like, when people talk about building programs and building your structure, it's like, you're like half of the reason why all these college teams were so successful. You got to turn around and look at who was the coach of that program. There are some colleges where it was different coaches through different eras, but you look at you look at UConn now. Why is UConn good? You look at Michigan State. Why is Michigan State good? You look at Duke. Why is Duke good? Like, a lot of it does come from the culture that these coaches build. So to talk about like, well, with the NBA, there's a little bit more structure in your contracts, and that makes no sense. I don't get it from that point of view. Plus, the same thing, dude. It's Dallas. It's freaking Dallas. Like, look, Dallas isn't magically just going to turn around and get that much better. Do we remember like what happened about a year ago? Anybody remember the Luke? No, we don't. We don't remember the dumpster fire of a franchise that the Mavericks are right now. Oh, I guess. I guess we forgot. Okay.
And that is Dallas.
It surprises me. Um, but this could be, nobody's talking about Yaxel being a top pick in this draft, so maybe this is kind of like a key indicator on, hey, yeah, Axel's going to go play for the Mavericks, which I'm not saying that Cooper Flag is not the guy, and potentially, maybe he could get to where, Luka was. I don't know, but like there's parts of me like, look at the Knicks, for example. The Knicks just won the NBA championship, okay? If the Knicks get bounced next year by the Heat or the Celtics in the second round after blowing like a 2-1 lead or something, his name's already going to be on the chopping block. Like that is what the culture of basketball is now, which like in turn kind of like at the end of the day, this is to me why this news kind of makes no sense to him going to the Mavericks is the second that it, turns south and it's not successful anymore and they're not winning games, he's going to be fired. Like let's not kid ourselves here. Like even with the Spurs and them losing, like people are calling for the head coach to get fired, and it's like that was their first time in the postseason. That was Wemby's first postseason run. Guess how many other legendary NBA players would love to have had their first NBA playoffs be a finals run? Which, by the way, if you go watch the games, yes, the Knicks had comebacks in every single game, which solidified like their ring. But the Spurs dictated a lot of those comebacks because how many double-digit point-blown leads did the Spurs have in each and every single game? So I can't sit here and be like, well, the Spurs are a slouch. No, like Spurs are a legit team. They're going to be in the mix for a while. But to me, let's fast forward 3-4 years. Cooper Flag's getting a little bit older. Who's to say that Mavericks aren't back to square one? Because clearly, like right after they won, the West and lost in the NBA Finals, that team is no longer the same. Yeah, you got like one piece Kyrie staying around, but like Kyrie's not going to be on the team in 3-4 years. They're going to trade him away or something. So to me, it makes no sense because with what the NBA landscape is nowadays, where it's like if you're not winning, you're gone. Mavericks, they've already gotten rid of so many players that would have got them and pushed them over the top to win a championship. So to me, it kind of makes no sense, but it is what it is. Guys, though, be sure to let me know your thoughts. Thank you for hanging out to the end of this video. If you agree, let me know in the comments. If you disagree, be sure to let me know your thoughts on Dusty May going to the Mavericks. I think it's a huge, because I think he's a good coach. At the end of the day, this isn't like a, oh my gosh, no, he's a good coach. I think he can definitely turn around the Mavericks, but coaching college basketball and coaching NBA basketball, it's two separate worlds. And like history's not on his side in, when you look at the regards for which college coaches have been successful at the next level, there's only been two. There's only been two. And so like history's not favoring him in that aspect, but we'll just see. We'll just see. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.
I am never, ever playing games with you two again.